Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm so excited to be here. I'm excited because I have our coach Judy with me today.
Hello,
Hello,
everyone.
Judy.
Thank you for
How are
having
you?
me, Sohila.
Thank
I'm
you.
good.
And Judy is one of our holistic neurogrowth success coaches, and she's here because we're going to have a conversation about something very important and very close to her heart. So that's why she's here. Now,
Yes.
before we get started, Judy, we do need to come here and now. I don't know about you, where are you? But I tend to be in my past or into my future and almost always forgetting to be here and now. How about yourself?
A little bit. It gets kind of hard at the end of the day to put things that you've already accomplished down and be able to move on with the evening's goals.
Yes. So we get pulled into our past, right? And usually when we get pulled into our past, it's about the things that we should have done it this way, we could have done it this way, or I should have said this. Why did I say this instead of this, right? Those kind of things we like to replay so many times. How about yourself?
Yes, those things can have a big impact if I don't remember to keep myself in the present moment. They can often take over if they go
Yeah.
unchecked.
Yeah, and they pull us without us even giving permission. I mean, it feels like almost like someone's taking away my attention over there, even though I never gave them permission to do it. I want to be here and now, right? Every one of us wants to be here and now because only here and now we can create things. We can
Right.
live, right? We
Yep.
can learn. We can lead ourselves and others, but instead we being pulled over here without my consent almost because my brain thinks I should think about my past as if there is more to learn. But unfortunately, if we keep replaying the same thing, we have everybody says, right? Don't read the same chapter again and again and again and again. How many times are we going to read the same chapter, right?
Right.
So all we need to do is decide that, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. It's too much of my energy, too much is being wasted. So only thing we can take from the past is the lessons. Have I gotten the lessons out of it? Because those could be useful now and here too, right? So take
Right.
the lessons and just really let this go because it doesn't do anything other than keep you hostage and thinking things that you cannot recreate. Past is done. We cannot go back and change it. It's over, right? So
Not
let's
with
talk about our yeah, and let's talk about our future. The other side is the future, right? A lot of us like to plan ahead. A lot of us like to live in our what if situations, right? What if my life was like this? What if this happens? What if that goes wrong? So again, it's good to just think about the future. It's so important to think about the future because otherwise if you don't set intentions, a lot of people set goals, but we set intentions, right, in our life. So
right.
if we don't set intention, we don't have a destination to, right? It's good to think about the future, but only time it gets very bad, right, Judy, is when I project my past onto it.
Oh yeah, that
When I
definitely
look
is
through
an issue.
that, I look through my past into my future, and then I create all these things that's going to happen as if they're going to happen. And I live in this real world that I create in my head. I create a world where it's going to be like this and that and this and this and this, but it's projected from the past. That's
We
a
live like we're expecting the worst to happen because that's what we're pulling into it.
yes. So therefore, what can I do with the past, like future? I mean, it's available to me. I'm not going to be the creator of that. We know this, right? We, you know, if I know what my future is going to be, then it'll be great, right? But we don't know. We don't know. It's so unknown to any of us. You know, there are some fortune tellers or whoever future tellers who can tell you. But I mean, if you believe those stuff, you can. But most of the time, we don't know what's going to happen. Even in 2 minutes, I don't know what's going to happen to me. I just know what's happening to me right now. So only thing we can do is bless our future and we just release it because it's available to all of us. Why force it? And look what happens if you let go of the past, release the future. Look what happens. My hands are here. I can bring them now and here. And
Yes.
here I can learn. You can learn. Here you can live. Really live,
Yes.
right? Real living is different, right, Judy?
Yes. And I've noticed that when I do this, when I need to focus and I bring myself to the center, I not only feel like I'm in the moment, I take a deeper breath and
Yep.
really regulate myself in that moment.
Exactly. Yes, absolutely. And then from here, we can lead ourselves and lead others in our life as well. So, how else can we bring ourselves truly here? I think, Judy, you've already mentioned breathing. It's
Breathing.
yes, automatically she says she can breathe deeper, right? Because as we know, we are all taking breaths, but those are not deep breaths. We don't even focus on those breaths, right? We just like, it's just like our life that's busy. Our breaths are also taking busy breaths, right? Busy, busy. So, can we do few of those so that we can bring ourselves truly here and now?
Of
Take a deep breath.
course.
So, let's inhale for 4, hold for 4, and then exhale for 8, letting go all the stress, all the worries, whatever you've been thinking and your brain has been, pushing you to think about the past. Just let it go. Just let it go. Tell your brain, just let it go, right through your mouth. Okay, let's do that again. Inhale for 4, hold for 4. Now I want you to let go everything you've been carrying all day, all week, all night. You've been thinking so many things, right? Just let it go through your mouth, out, 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 all the way 8 times. Let it go. Exactly. Thank you, Judy. Yes. Sound to let go, right? Okay, let's do it again. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, and then let go the shoulders. Let just go down. Let it go down. It's not up here. Shoulders are not supposed to be here. They're supposed to be here, and chest out, right? So the deep breaths actually resets all your spine, all your ribs, everything. So now we're here, right, Judy? How are you feeling? How are
Good.
perfect. So today we want to talk about something very special, and a lot of the time when we talk about these things, there's always some misunderstanding about this topic, right? That's why we wanted to bring this to awareness today. So, and that's why children become dysregulated when a child struggles in the classroom or at home. We focus all of our focus straight goes to what do we go to right away?
Behavior.
Exactly.
Blame.
Yes, the big word, behavior, right?
Yeah.
So today we want to talk about behavior and dysregulation. So, Judy, from your experience, what kinds of classroom environment help children feel calm and ready to learn?
A calm environment makes kids feel calm and ready to learn.
But how do we create that? I mean, tell us.
The
What
teachers need to recognize their own dysregulation. And once the teachers are regulated and modeling regulation for their students, and then teaching the students to be aware of how they are reacting and aware of their own systems, then all of the students start to mimic the teacher. All of the students start to become aware of their systems, regulation or dysregulation. And then everyone starts living it in I can't think of the word for it, but they all start mirroring one another.
chaos? It's chaos, right? It's sort of like a chaos, out of order. Things are out of control. I mean, it can feel at home too, right? We can feel this at home too when things feel like it's out of control as a
Yeah.
parent.
At school, we have kids that are screaming, they're throwing things, they're knocking things over because they're mad. We think they're knocking things over because they're mad. We're seeing so many behaviors at school. Parents are seeing so many behaviors at home. But I think we need to take a step back and recognize what's behind those behaviors.
Yes. So, what could be behind those behaviors?
Shame, embarrassment, defeat. Their protective system could be in overdrive, not necessarily from a fear of physical danger, but emotional or mental danger. There's so many things that we see as behavior that are really the child trying to get somebody to notice so that they can help them.
Can a child be also thinking that I'm disappointing somebody and be behaving too, right? Because like when I disappoint someone, my actions are disappointing them, so then now I have to behave in a certain way.
Yeah, if they've done something one time and they felt that they did the best they could, and then the adult comes along and criticizes them or minimizes what they felt they did their best on, then from then that point on, that child's likely to fear making a mistake, being embarrassed, being criticized. From then on, they're going to be in a protective mode when they're asked to do something rather than I'm going to give this my best shot, because their best shot wasn't good enough and it hurt.
Yes. So we're seeing so many behaviors, and a teacher is listening to us now. They're gonna think like, okay, I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, co-regulating, regulating. Everybody's talking about all of these things, but do you know how hard it is when a child is going off, or there's chairs flying, or things are happening? They're yelling or screaming or kicking or hitting. I mean, there's severe behaviors like these are happening, right? So
Mhm.
how can somebody just stand outside of this classroom and say, just breathe, just regulate, this kind of stuff? What do you think? What can we help them with? Because this is really happening. It's not just stories,
Right.
right? This is the reality of classrooms.
And it's not happening intentionally. It's happening because the teachers weren't taught any differently. They're coming to teaching the way their parents raised them, the way they were taught. And we've learned so much about the brain now, and it's time that our teachers learn more about how our children's systems are affecting their learning. The first thing that the teachers need to do is learn about their own dysregulation and how to regulate themselves and how to bring themselves in the present moment. So often I see teachers with children that have a history of behaving, and so they treat them as though they have a history of behaving, which doesn't even give the children a chance to show that they've changed, they've tried. The kids don't have the words. So it's up to the teachers to be able to be in their own space where they are regulated enough and aware enough to see what these babies are experiencing, to see that there's pain behind the behaviors that they're seeing. They need to see their behaviors as reactions to a need rather than a personal affront against them or flat meanness or choosing to misbehave. So it
And
all
and
goes
you're
back to awareness.
and you're in the classroom right now, so it's anybody's thinking like, Judy, you don't understand. Judy is currently in the classroom as she's
Mhm.
building her business and looking at her retirement here. So Judy, before you learned to become a holistic neurogrowth success coach, tell me how you used to look at it, because the training was not ever like this in school, teachers training or anything like this, right?
Right. Aside from giving us some general guidance on behavior and discipline and some theories from back in the 1960s, we're really not prepared much for behavior, much less for what we're doing here. This movement is totally different and way more effective than anything that's being taught in the teacher preparation programs. So ask me that question again, Kohila. I got lost in my own thought.
No, you were doing really well. Thank you.
Oh,
So you were saying that in the teacher school, you don't get trained on any of these behaviors. I mean, that's not even part of it. I mean, there are theories from olden days, but that was happening back then. But now we have a new generation of kids with new generation of behaviors. We need new ideas, new way of looking at it, a new perspective, a new lens.
you had asked me how I saw it years ago, I believe.
Yeah, yes.
Back when I was, well, I still am in the classroom, but before I became a holistic neurogrowth learning success coach, I saw such behaviors as he's trying to dominate my attention. He's trying to see if he can upset me. He's just trying to push and see how far he can go. He doesn't believe me when I say that there's going to be a consequence. That's how I looked at it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I was raised. That's how my parents acted, was there's a consequence for every action. And don't push the adult is in charge.
Mm-hmm.
And then my teachers were the same way. Of course, I'm a little bit older. I grew up in that society, but even now in the classrooms, the teachers set rules to support whatever guidelines of school rules that the principal has set. The teacher's job is to keep those standards met so they don't get in trouble by administration. But we're not recognizing that there's reasons why the children are getting those boundaries pushed and pushed and pushed. And the teacher's pushing back and the kids are pushing back, and nobody's aware of what's going on, why it's going on, and that it's not a personal affront against any person. And that's often how the teachers take it. They get frustrated. The kids are responding with defense and protectiveness on their own systems. The teachers are getting so frustrated that they're meeting that child's defense with their own defense and need to protect themselves. So a lot of knowledge.
So we have two nervous systems who are in protective mode, survival mode, at each other.
Yeah.
So
And then over time, we have other kids in the classroom who might have started off behaving pretty well or even excellent, but over time, they have become defensive in this chaotic environment. So now you have multiple protective systems all reacting, and nobody's needs get met.
yes. So listening to you, so we are all conditioned for respect, consequences, behave like this or else, right? This is the way we got parented. And then in school system also, compliance was a huge part of our society, right? Respect is a huge part. You show up, you do this, you do this, you do this, right? You don't do this, you get this and this. So now some people might be watching us going, well, what about consequences? What are these kids learning? What are they going to do in the real world if we don't give them consequences? Is that what we're saying? I'm actually only playing the other side. I know you're like, what is Kohila? What's wrong with her? I can see it on her face. That's not Kohila. No, I'm just playing the other side right now. So, right? So what would that be? Like, if we think about consequence must be implemented here.
Consequences have their place, they do. And the kids need to know cause and effect. But the consequences need to be aligned with the situation. But you can't give a consequence when you don't know what the situation is, because you're only looking at it from a surface level. So I think there needs to be an awareness of what might be causing that behavior. And then recognize what's behind it as a teacher or a parent, recognize what's behind it, make sure the child is aware of what is going on behind their behavior, because if we don't know, they sure don't know. And then make a plan to move forward. As they move forward in that plan, there's going to be backslides and other issues that come up. And as needed, as the child progresses, as it is ready for consequences, then bring in consequences that match the offenses. But consequences that attack and further push that child in a protective mode are not going to be effective.
No, it won't. It's just sad to see it. That's what we're trained. Right. We have to lay the consequences, right? Because otherwise we're not teaching them anything. Right. We're not teaching them anything. What are we teaching them?
But that's like turning a child loose with a driver's license. Okay, you have a license, now do it. But if we haven't taught them about speed and defensive driving and school zones, we can't get mad when they get a ticket first time out. We have to teach them when they're ready and multiple times.
Yes. And that's why they're children, right? I mean, that's why Before consequence, we need to turn our lens, our eyes, our whole nervous system, whole emotional system into compassion.
Yes.
Compassion guides way, way powerfully than consequences. Because when I lay consequences, I'm their enemy, right? Consequences at that state where the child doesn't know what they're doing and they're doing it labeled as a behavior. I am now their enemy. They're going to look at me like, oh, you're hurting me. You don't understand me. You don't even know why I did it. You're hurting me. So that point, I'm no longer teaching them anything. I'm just asking them to hate me.
Yeah. And when we meet a child who's already in meltdown and overwhelm and fear and doesn't even understand what all he's feeling, much less be able to control it, when we meet those emotions with consequences that likely won't have anything to do with what's going on, then that child just learns, well, I don't matter anyway. My feelings don't matter. What I need doesn't matter. So why should I even try?
Exactly. Yes. Absolutely. So at home, parents often want their children to succeed, right? All parents want their children to
Yeah.
succeed, right? No parent ever says, I'm going to do this so you don't, right? So, but sometimes it can turn into pressure, though.
Mhm.
Right? Sometimes the love we give can turn into pressure. So, what are some patterns you see in families that influence whether a child feels supported or overwhelmed
Ooh. Patterns that would make a child feel overwhelmed
or
is
supported? Yeah.
too much rigidity. The child doesn't have any room to make decisions. There's no room to, excuse me, try and fail so that they can then try something else and succeed. Too much rigidity. On the other hand, a child could be having negative responses at home because they're dysregulated and their parent is dysregulated. So they're feeding off of each other. Things that might be supportive in the homes, systems that would be supportive would be like a calm parent that says, I see you tried your best. What do you think you could have done differently? Talking with the child instead of talking to the child
Or
would
at them,
be supportive.
or even at them, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. And recognizing the child for who the child is, not who you want them to be or who you dreamt they would be.
Yeah. I want to point out one thing that Judy keeps saying that all of our coaches, our whole movement will say as well, take note of this, is that you have to be first home yourself. To parent, you have to be home yourself. Home meaning here, in this person's body. Because if we're all out there and parenting in a chaotic way, we're not home. So our patience are not there anymore. Our compassion cannot be there, right? So are you home? Like, are you
Mhm.
really home to yourself? And the same thing for teachers. We are looking for strategies. We're saying the strategy is not working. Help me. I'm not succeeding in my classroom. But are you first home to yourself? Because if your nervous system is off, you cannot teach anyone, right?
Mhm.
If your
Right.
systems are off and you're struggling, you cannot change anyone else. So the first step is to come home. Are you
Mhm.
home? And you've been saying that, so I needed to say it out loud, right?
And it doesn't just need to happen at home where you stay true to yourself. When back before I had gotten my coaching training, I brought home unintentionally the stress and anxiety and pressure and busyness that I had been going all day with at school.
Yes.
Unintentionally and unknowingly, I was bringing that same tone and frustration and energy into my home, which my kids picked up on. So they're now responding to me with the same thing. And I'm like, what?
Yes.
I just got home. Why can't we just all calm down and have a nice evening? Because I
Yes.
brought my work home. They brought school home. But when I did my coaching training and I learned how to regulate myself, I focused on being calmer and more regulated through the day. I picked up my kids more regulated. So we started our evening together more regulated. They mirrored the energy that I had. And over time, they learned to leave school at school. Let's leave it there. It'll be waiting on us tomorrow. Let's be present together now. So it really has a huge trickle down effect
Yes.
and needs to be
Yes.
carried out throughout the day.
How many of us have conditioned us that we cannot leave any work at school? We have to bring it home,
Mm-hmm.
and we can disconnect from our home. And some teachers are now working like 70, 60 hours a week. And if you ask them, yeah, it just continues from home to school to school to home. Then where do you live? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, where are you living? Are you living your life, or right? And
Right.
then people say, I have great salary, but if you divide all of that salary by the amount of hours you're working, you're minimum wage. Some teachers are so
Mhm.
sadly less than minimum wage,
Yeah.
So why would you not live your life with your family? What is the point of job, right?
Right.
When you cannot live, and how does that serve you, and how can you come home to yourself, and how can you go back next day, be there for the students in a way that you can be? You can't. You're burnt out,
And a lot
depleted.
of that goes back to what you were saying earlier about worrying about the past and worrying about controlling the future instead of being right here. Even at school, as teachers, as parents, we're so focused on getting everything done right now that might come up that we will have to do later. Planning is a huge part of what we do as teachers and moms, but that doesn't make us right here. The things we're planning and stressing over and staying late over, they may or may not be needed. I mean, there's always time to straighten that stack of papers. Things don't always have to be done right now. Your
Yes.
kids are only kids right now.
Yes. And do you have that boundary now as a holistic neurogrowth success coach? Do you have set boundaries between home and school?
I do. I do work late, but that's my choice now because my kids have moved out of the house and I'm still adjusting to that. So I do work a little bit later. But when I work late or all through the day, what I do is what needs to be done right then. I don't stress over what's to come. I get busy, sure. I get flustered, sure. But I take a moment when I notice those things and I bring myself back right here so that I'm
Yes.
not in a tizzy over past, present, future, and all of the other things.
Yes. So, how are you able to handle dysregulation in your classroom? And you're a librarian as well, right? Um, Teaching and librarian is a big job. So, how do you regulate kids now as a holistic neurogrowth success coach inside the classroom?
If I feel dysregulated and I need a moment, I'll tell the kids I need a moment. And this is even with my 3 and 4 year olds. I'll just say, let's all stop, close your eyes, and let's take a breath. Miss Smith needs a mind break. And you're going to take one with me. And then when I open my eye, I'll start hearing kids humming while we're doing it. And then when we all open our eyes, all of them are so much more relaxed. And I didn't ask them to do anything but close their eyes and let me breathe. I've even done it in the cafeteria with 102 fourth graders and said, guess what, everybody? And then I'll pause and take my breath and bring me back centered and then tell the kids, oh, thank you. I needed a moment. And they think it's hilarious. But sometimes they'll come in the library now and just say, can I sit down? I need a breath. So
Oh, beautiful.
they mimic that I show, not because I'm trying to show, but because I'm trying to regulate me, and they mimic unintentionally. I wasn't trying to get any of them to do it.
Yes. Yes. And that's why even I start this show every single day with my here and now and our breathing, because I need to bring myself here to get the message correct to the people who are watching me, because now I have a duty to do that, right? To the people who come and watch me here and listen to me, I need to be here now and myself, because life is happening to me as well, right? And then I also need my guests like you, Judy, to also come here now, because you probably think I have to go online, right? All of a sudden when we go online, we take this big air and then we hold it as if it's something's going to happen. But then when you do the breathing exercise, we all relax and we're all here and we can just have conversation as if we're meeting up in a coffee shop.
Right. It's almost like taking a moment to close one door, choose the correct door, and enter that room for a moment.
Yes.
The other things are waiting in their own doors. But even parents can do this. It's not just something that can be done in a classroom or online with a professional. I mean, as a parent, before my kids moved out, we would be all be in the kitchen and everybody's talking at once, or sometimes one of my children's ADHD, he might have been having a fit, and I would just sit down in the kitchen at one of the bar stools or something and just say, I need a moment. I need everybody to just stop and take a moment. And at first they were so shocked that they're looking at each other like, what is wrong with mom? But then eventually, during the heat of the moment, one of them might say, let's just all take a moment. And they would start the moment for everybody. And then we could all carry on calmly.
Yeah. Some people might be watching us going, this is so gentle parenting. It sounds like such a gentle parenting. I don't think my class is ever going to do that. I don't think it's going to work. Our behaviors are out of control. It's not going to work. Can we just keep saying this? Is that going to work, in your opinion?
No, you're holding on to the past.
Yeah.
It didn't work in the past. It's not going to work in the future. Well, what about right now? What about in this moment when you have a child screaming and you're about to run through the door screaming? Even
Yes.
at home, if your child is screaming at you because they don't want to do their homework, they don't understand, and you're about to start screaming, why worry about didn't work in the past? Why worry about what's not going to work in the future? What can work in this moment? A breath. That's the first step. Breathe.
Yes. And try it. Try it. I mean, if whatever you're doing as teacher or a parent, if it's working for you, don't try it.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what I
just,
always tell them.
yeah,
If
you
it's
don't have to
working for
buy a
you,
breath.
yes.
Take it.
If you if whatever you're doing is working for you, don't try what we're saying. But if it's not working for you, it's just breath, and as Judy just said, it's free. It's available all the time. And I know a lot of people say breath, breath, but it's about the intention behind it and when we're doing it and how we're doing it. And when you do it with that syncing of your nervous system and with compassion, there's a big change difference in it, right? It's not just a breath. It's not just a breath.
And in that breath, you might discover, oh, I like this piece in my mind. As an adult, you might be able to run with that and really bring yourself into a point where you can regulate yourself. But maybe you think, well, I can do this to me, but I don't know how to do it in my child. We're here. Would be happy to help. You don't have to do any of this alone. The support you need is out there.
So how can we change this behavior, this dysregulation? I can't handle this. To really rephrase it and re-look at it from another lens and say, this is just protection. These kids are just trying to protect themselves. How can we change that? Because we're so conditioned not to believe that, right? We just think it's behavior. They should know better. They know better, and they're just acting out, and they just want attention, and they just want to get me, like you said, those things, right? How can I just let all of that go? Because that conditioning is so big for all of us, all of us. How can I just let it go and say, you know what? This human being is in survival. It's trying to protect. How can we change like that? What can I do?
One of the first things that made me start changing how I looked at my son's behaviors when he was maybe 5, with bad ADHD and unmedicated because I was afraid of the medicines, was his doctor said to me, Judy, for everything you see coming out of your child, for all the behaviors and all the yelling and all the crying, for all of that, there's 10 times more that you don't see. And that really made me stop and think, oh my gosh, if what I see is overwhelming me, what is that baby experiencing in his own head? So I started looking at things a little bit differently, even way back then. And then when I started with the coaching, I was like, oh my goodness, I wish I had known this back then. My baby's life could have been so much different. I
Mm.
could have been different through their childhood and been more present and enjoyed all of the things that I dreamed of as a mother instead of surviving them.
Yes.
But more importantly, my children could have had such a more peaceful and productive childhood because they wouldn't have felt that constant, I got to do this, mom's telling me this, mom's telling me this, mom's telling me this, that nobody's listening to me. So that
Yes.
made me
So
really
what?
start thinking about what is going on behind that. What am I not seeing? And why am I not seeing it?
Yeah. So what can we tell a parent right now who's looking through that lens of this is behavior, this is just out of control. I don't know what to do with you. Like they're at their last breath with this situation. What can we tell them?
When your child misbehaves, think beyond what you see and think about what they feel. Instead of focusing on what they've done, focus on why they did it. What were they feeling?
Yes. And to do all of that, you have to be home. You have to be home first
Yeah,
because you won't see any of that if you're not home.
right. If you think they're making a personal, they're just mad at me. They just want to ruin my night. Well, he just wants to get his sister back. Maybe so. Siblings are like that. But what if there's something the child's trying to tell us? Would you ever ignore your child when they are telling you they need something?
Yes.
Well, their behaviors are telling you they need something too.
Yes.
We need to
Yes.
listen
Yeah.
with our
And then
hearts, not just our ears.
no, we need to listen from our heart. Yes. Yes. But in order to do all of that, I talk about, in our program, we talk about our brain speaks, our heart speaks, and our body speaks. And then when our brain speaks loud and it's off and our body is off, more importantly, our heart stops speaking to us. And if our heart's not speaking, we cannot parent
Mm-hmm.
because these two are controlling everything, the body and the brain. Brain is the most powerful thing that can tell us all sorts of stuff, right? That's why we can't listen to it. We need to control it. So when my heart is not speaking under these control, I cannot parent. I don't have the compassionate. You won't. That's why I say come home. The minute you come home, your heart will start speaking, and as you said, heart will also listen. That's
Yeah.
beautiful, right? And how about for teachers? Teachers who are buried in work and buried in behavior and just getting even hit. I mean, I know a lot of teachers who are hit and spit and all these things. They're taking it.
Mhm.
What about for them? How can they look at behaviors like that?
As teachers, we're so much professional development theories and systems are thrown on us, and they're general. Every system, every training we sit in, we think, yeah, well, that's not my class. Well, they're not talking about the kids in this school.
Mm-hmm.
But what we're saying now here tonight is not a general one size fits all program. It is a specific, individual, just for you, how you need to use it. It's worth the chance because of all the things that we've been told are going to fix it and make our lives easy as teachers. This is the one most likely to do it.
Yes. But again, teachers have to come home. You
They
have to
do.
protect your core. You have to protect your core. You cannot feel like you're drowning and
No.
depleted, and then you wouldn't have anything to look through at the situation that's happening to you, right? Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Judy, and thank you for recommending me to us to talk about this because it's it's happening so much, but it's also we're dealing it within the wrong lens,
Yeah.
wrong perspective, and absolutely wrong perspective, and that's why it's escalating
Yeah. And it's not just happening at school and it's not just happening
at
with the
home.
parents. It's the same thing affecting all of us. And it's something we can all correct. and bring our systems in line with each other so that our systems, our nervous system and behavioral systems, so that they're not battling one another.
Yes. Yes. And there's so much generic information out that we all have learned to become accustomed to search for them, and then we try them, and then we don't, it doesn't work, and then we're now in a loop and a loop and a loop after loop, getting frustrated with different things and not working and not working, right? So come home to yourself first. Things will
Mhm.
look different, right? Isn't that
Yeah,
true? Things will look different. You will have a different perspective. You will have different form of compassion, and compliance will just escape, and compassion will, dominate. And when that happens, everything changes, right, Judy?
it does. And it's not even just about how you look. You will feel different
Yes.
in your breathing, in your head, in your body. Everything will feel different.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you. And then
Thank
if you
you,
want to
Camila.
do, yeah, I'm going to leave Judy's information below this. She's on all socials. Just reach out to her. She offers coaching to any age, any stage, and it doesn't matter even if your child has a label, because our method doesn't matter. We don't look through the labels. We just look at who you are as a person and as a soul, because we look through the soul print biology. So thank you for joining us today. I'll be back again tomorrow with another coach, and we will have another conversation. And if you have any questions, send them in to us, because we love questions. Sometimes, Judy, I was telling them, sharing them from my heart other day. Like, we do all of these, right? I take an hour, you take an hour or so to plan this and come and deliver this message. And sometimes we have people watching us, but if they would give us one or two comments, that makes this more powerful for us, right? Because then we can see that this is resonating, this
Yeah,
is reaching the people that we are talking to, and those comments or questions become our fuel for the next conversation, because we're here to help. It's available to you. So anyone feeling like this is only happening to me, I'm just by myself, it's just me, it's not. It's happening everywhere, right?
it
Did you want to say
is.
something, Judy? Sorry, I cut you off a little bit. Tell us.
My son, who no longer lives here, just poked his head in, and I hadn't seen him for a couple of weeks, and I just kind
Awesome.
of,
Yeah, perfect. It's time for a visit. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Give us any comments is appreciated. Any questions is always welcomed. And if you don't believe anything we're saying, also tell us, because I don't think you should never buy anything anybody says. You
yeah,
should question it. And I love questions like that, because I want to be challenged. And that's how we grow, right?
it
Without
is.
challenge, you can grow. So thank you so much. Have a blessed day and enjoy your
Thank
son's
you,
visit.
Camila.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye bye. Take care.
Bye bye.